What is going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 10 of our Minnesota Vikings franchise. And in today's episode, we are finally getting into it. It's scouting update day, and I could not be happier to finally get this thing going. Because guess what? We're going to be covering round 1 prospects. Round 2, round 3, everything else will be covered in installments after Vikings uploads of gameplay. So later on, after we play the Seahawks, we'll cover round 2. Week 14, we'll cover round 3, so on and so forth. Basically, I just want to keep this organized so that we're not overloading people with all the analysis that we're going to be doing here in this type of episode. So basically what we're going to do is I have footage of all the round 1 prospects from our draft class in NCAA Football 14, plus you guys, the custom players. If your guy has a round 1 grade, we'll be covering him in this video. If he has a round 2 grade, just like I mentioned before in the last couple seconds ago, is that we will cover them in round 2's scouting update video. I hope that made sense. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First prospect we're going to be covering here in today's scouting update video is Chase Young from Ohio State, the edge rusher. I don't think that he's going to fall to us per se. We're currently 9-2. If we lose 5 straight games and go 9-7, I still don't think that we're going to be able to get a guy like Chase Young. He's currently projected as a top 5, top 10 type of pick, but we do have to do our due diligence. We do have to make sure that we're looking at every player and analyzing if he's a good fit or not. Currently, a lot of mock drafts see him going in that top 4, in that top 5 spot. I think that that's about right. You know, the big thing with Chase Young is the motor. Everybody talks about the motor from everybody that I've looked at, from scouting analysis to even watching it on film. Everybody's worried about the consistency of that will and that fire and that burn to try to keep going. So sometimes it's listed as taking a little couple plays off here and there, but he's a very talented player, especially fits in a 4-3 defensive scheme. Very powerful, very physical. You would take a guy like Chase Young to really plan for the future. I think that he would be a great pick for us in round number 1. Another player that I actually really like is AJ Epinesa, defensive end from Iowa. Another Big Ten defensive end that we're going to be covering here. And the reason why I like this guy is that he's big. He's a big guy, 6'6", 280 pounds, and he's got some power and some ferocity that Chase Young doesn't really have. No knock there on Chase Young. It's just I really think that AJ Epinesa is more my style of defensive end. In 2017, 4.5 sacks. 2018, 10.5 sacks with 4 fumble recoveries and 4 pass deflections. And so far in 2019, he has registered only 1 sack and a pass defended. This guy is going to be a good player at the next level. He fits the prototypical size. He's constantly making plays in the backfield. He's good at reading where the ball is on read options. I think that is pretty much the next stage of the NFL. There's a lot of RPOs being implemented in the NFL too. I think he's going to be a good one. The more that he's able to play at that next level, he might be a good pick for us. Another player that I really like, LSU safety Grant Delpit. I don't think he's going to be available to us at all. I think this is a top 5, top 10 talent, and he's just too good. He's too good. I don't think he's going to be even close to being where we need him to be in order to take a chance on him. Just not a lot of negatives in his game. The only really thing that I can see is that he kind of does a lot of arm tackling. So he's not that great of a tackler, but not that you really need him to be. He's more of a coverage guy anyway. And he really sticks like glue to defenders, especially in zone coverage, and is able to get back to where he needs to be to help out his cornerback. He's going to be a really good player. Don't know where he's going to land, but I know for sure it's going to be definitely in that top 5, top 10 type of range. One of my favorite players in the draft, wide receiver from Alabama, Jerry Jeudy. 6'1", 195. He's a little bit on the lighter frame, but at this point we're just nitpicking about this player. He's so good. The route running, stick skills, I guess you could say. He's going to be a great receiver. It's just a matter of being able to work off the press coverage. Since he's a little bit on the lighter side and a little bit on the smaller side, being a true number 1 or number 2 wide receiver at the NFL level, got to really ask yourself, How's he going to work out against bigger defensive backs and even defensive backs that can match his agility at the next level? I hope that he is able to fall to us. I don't think that he's going to, but he would still be a great player for us because we really need a superstar on this offense. I know that you can classify Thielen or Diggs or Dalvin Cook as superstars, but we really need that breakout type of guy. We need a guy that's going to really vault this offense over the top. Vikings offense really hasn't had that guy in quite a long time, other than Adrian Peterson, of course. Turning the page here to the quarterbacks. We're going to look at Tua, Jake Fromm, and Justin Herbert, but we're going to look at Justin Herbert first. I like Justin Herbert. I really do. I think he's good. I think a lot of people are knocking on him because he likes to take those deep shots. I don't have a problem with deep shots, but let's face it, not all the time are they going to be the most consistent source of passing completions. They're just not. And the biggest thing with Justin Herbert is that he has a huge arm. Maybe not as good as Josh Allen with the arm strength, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. That's a big pro of Justin Herbert's game. He knows in a general idea of where to put the football. It's just a matter of, can he actually do it though? Can he repeat it? Can he be consistent in ball placement? And that's really the con of Justin Herbert's game, is that sometimes he likes to rip it way too much and use that arm strength, kind of like Brett Favre in a way, but at 6'6", he's a little bit more lanky than Brett Favre was, and you can't knock a quarterback for wanting to test and show off his arm against that defense, but it's not high likelihood that it's going to have a lot of success in the NFL. I like Herbert. I think that he has a good chance at falling, especially when you start to see those accuracy issues and those stories start to pop up with NFL scouting. I just think that he's mostly kind of a project, in an NFL offense where it's gonna have to be, sometimes you got to take the underneath, sometimes you got to make the right read, you got to progress through the reads. He's got to get tamed, if that makes sense. And I think Justin Herbert will be, eventually he'll be a good one. Just got to rein him in a little bit. I may not personally like Alabama as a Michigan guy, being a northerner out here and just being a Nick Saban hater, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Tua, tank for Tua. Unfortunately, we're not going to be in the market for Tua, but you still got to cover the guy. He's basically Russell Wilson. When I look at Tua, I see Russell Wilson. He can escape the pressure. He understands pocket. He's got pocket awareness, pocket presence, however you want to define it. Big arm, accurate, mobile. He knows what to do and where to go with the football. Even better, I feel like, is the pump fake, is his ability to extend plays and do something and make something out of nothing. And Tua is he's the best quarterback. Not probably, he is the best quarterback in this draft, even though there's a lot of haters out there for Tua saying he might not be legit, he might not work out. Somebody who drafts him, whether it's Miami, who's tanking for them in real life, somebody desperate need of a quarterback, maybe the Tennessee Titans? I would hope for that as a Titans fan out here. But Tua definitely should be the first quarterback taken in this draft. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get him as we are 9-2, but still look out for him and whoever takes him in this franchise series. So with the mix of custom players and real life players, there's going to be quarterbacks available. But if we were to take a real life quarterback, to me, it would be Jake Fromm. He's going to be available. He's not going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken, at least in this draft class, since he's a little bit further down on the list. I think if Jake Fromm was available to us, I would heavily consider taking him and investing into this quarterback to fill that backup role. When Kirk Cousins is gone, he might be our guy. The only problem with taking a quarterback here is that this team is ready for a Super Bowl right now. And by neglecting a first-round talent to go elsewhere, you're basically saying, we're okay with the team that we have right now. We hope that we win a Super Bowl with this roster, but you know what? It's only going to get older, and by the time that Jake Fromm is ready, the team might not be ready. That's the only negative to taking a guy like Jake Fromm. In my mind, He's not going to be a guy that's going to stretch the football field. It's going to be more of a dink and dunk West Coast type of style quarterback. Makes all the right decisions. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That's Jake Fromm. And whether you like the guy or not, you can't argue with the fact that he is careful with the football. He doesn't make a lot of those mistakes, those costly mistakes. He's a winner. He's a leader. It's really the type of guy that you want playing quarterback. The only question is, how is he going to handle the speed of the NFL? Most people would cite the fact that he's been playing in the SEC, so he should be fine. I would think that too. I like Jake Fromm. Not going to wow you with any arm talent, but he's going to be a good one. A little bit of a project, but he should be okay at the NFL level. Looking at Derrick Brown, the defensive tackle out of Auburn, when he's moving, you're dead. You're toast, okay? Like, this guy is so powerful at the line of scrimmage, and even when he's overpowered, he tends to just keep you there. There's not a lot of times where you see an offensive lineman actually push him over. If anything, if he's not pushing you back, he's keeping you and him in lockstep, which allows him to contain and set that line of scrimmage still for any running back or quarterback trying to run back up the middle or anything. He's going to be able to shed that offensive lineman and then go grab you and bring you down for a minimal gain. So Derrick Brown is more of a power type of defensive tackle. He would be a perfect replacement for Linval Joseph in the long term. We could even start rotating him in a backup sub-D lineman role. The only thing with Derrick Brown is that he's more of that pusher. He's more of that defensive tackle that's just going to push and drive rather than try to get to the outside. So zone run schemes are going to be kind of his downfall, I guess you would say. Linemen that are going to be moving to the east and the west, the left and the right. That's really going to struggle for him, mostly because he's so big and he's more that downward, full throttle, full steam ahead type of runner and defensive tackle. So I like Derrick Brown. I do think that there are some things as far as like scheme goes that he's going to be taken away, he's going to be negated from. But overall, good player. I don't know if he's going to be available for us when that time comes, but I would consider it. Raekwon Davis from Alabama, 6'7", 300+ pounds. The guy is an absolute monster, but that's about it. Production has not been there thus far in 2019 and even in 2018 after an impressive 2017 season. That's a lot of years that we're talking about. 17, 18, 19. But he hasn't really performed to where you think a guy with that size should be. So there's a lot of potential with Raekwon Davis, but mostly he's just a body at this point. He's just a big guy that's going to fill gaps and contain and fill gaps. For me, I'm probably not looking at taking a guy like Raekwon Davis. I think with a team like ours that isn't really looking for potential pieces, we're looking for guys that are going to be able to step in immediately and help us push over the top to eventually get to a Super Bowl, maybe even continue to win another Super Bowl next season if we even get to that point this year. Raekwon Davis, in my mind, if there aren't very many other players that are available that's going to fit for us, Raekwon might be taken here in the first round, but again, we'll really have to see what's available. But Raekwon Davis has got all the potential in the world to be something really special, but that's about it. For this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to actually combine Walker Little out of Stanford, offensive tackle for the Cardinal, and then Andrew Thomas, a left tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs. And both these guys are big. They're big boys. They're real big boys. You've got Andrew Thomas here at 6'5", and then you got Walker Little at 6'7", both obviously over 300 pounds. Walker Little seems to be more of a guard, dare I say it. He's huge though at 6'7". Not many times you see guards at 6'7", but he's a big guy. But he can move a little bit. And that's really the thing that I like about Walker Little versus what Andrew Thomas can do versus he's more of that power type of guy. He's more the guy that's just going to be able to be an anchor on that left tackle side of things. Whoever you decide to take here, whether it's Walker Little or Andrew Thomas, whoever's going to be available to us, we should heavily consider one of those two guys at the outside tackle position, because Riley Reiff is not cutting it. And we got to find another guy in order to get that job done, to protect Kirk Cousins or to protect whatever quarterback that we're going to have groom behind Kirk Cousins for the next few seasons. Next up, we got DeMarcus Woods, a left tackle out of the University of Oklahoma, 6'8", 320 pounds. Top 3 skills: strength, pass blocking, and run blocking. So he's basically a do-it-all type of left tackle. We know that we need our left tackles. This is a custom recruit, a custom guy by Braden Austin. He's a 2-time All-American from Oklahoma and a 3-time All-Big 12. So I would assume that he was a 4-year starter at the university. And he is basically known as having a high value system and a high work ethic. So he's a good guy, and he's an even better football player. And we would be smart, we'd be wise to consider DeMarcus Woods. Switching gears here now to defensive back, Ohio State's Jeffery Okuda. I really like this player. There's just something about him that I really, really enjoy watching. He's very fluid. His feet are very, very quick, lightning fast. He can mirror what the receivers are doing opposite of him, and I really like his ability to stick like glue onto those receivers. He's a very, very good man coverage type of cornerback. He's really a lockdown type of corner. Not often are you going to see throws to the player that he's going up against, and when it does happen, he's right there in coverage, batting balls down, getting turnovers, which he actually just had 2 interceptions this season. Hasn't really created many turnovers throughout his career, but he is now, which is a good sight to see. I'm not an Ohio State fan, being a Michigan guy, so I don't like the fact that he's having success. But at the same time, he's a really good player, a really good cornerback. He's gonna be one of those lockdown type of cornerbacks, and if I had the chance to take him, I'd highly consider it. Christian Fulton from Defensive Back University, DBU, LSU Tigers, baby. This guy is like the most copycat corner that I've seen in this draft class. I like Christian Fulton. So if Okuda isn't there, I'm thinking about taking Christian Fulton. Obviously, we'll have to see how the draft pans out for us. But, Holton Hill, there's a lot of people in Vikings country and Vikings land that really want to see Holton Hill kind of just hit the hay here a little bit. Just get out of here, get out of town. He's got some character issues. Christian Fulton has a couple of those issues as well, but, I think maybe we can take a chance on him and see what happens. But talking about his skill set here, he is able to follow and mirror the receivers that he's going up against like perfectly. Everything that receiver is getting ready to do, he anticipates it well. He does it well. He matches, goes toe-to-toe with every receiver he goes up against, whether it's Henry Ruggs in the SEC, whether it's Godwin from Georgia. I'll post a link in the description below about Christian Fulton. There's some analysis being done on him. But guys, I really like Christian Fulton. He even plays with the quarterbacks a little bit too, like messes with their minds. I like Christian Fulton. I think he's going to be a really solid guy, really solid corner. A lot of people are really high right now on Virginia cornerback Brice Hall. Now, he's over 200 pounds, 6'1", 200. He's a bigger cornerback that shows willingness to tackle, and he's a good tackler from what I've seen on film. But I just don't see the first round type of buzz that you would see with Okuda or Fulton. I just don't really see it. I mean, I love the fact that he can come up and tackle, and there's a lot of people talking about how the Detroit Lions would be a perfect fit for him, seeing as Patricia likes guys that can tackle, likes DBs that can tackle. I just don't see how he fits for us, especially with our draft class and that franchise guys class. He's already fitting in as a round 2 talent in the first round. A- in zone, B with the man coverage, B- in press. I want a guy that's going to step in immediately and just make an impact. And I don't think that Brice Hall is that type of player to step in and make an immediate impact on this football team. But we do need to fix the Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes type of situation. Trey Waynes is not on contract coming up this season. for 2020, and Xavier Rhodes is getting up there in age just a little bit. So we need to probably consider what we're going to do about cornerback. I'm not a big fan of Brice Hall. Notre Dame outside speed rusher Julian Arrington. I like this guy. He's a little bit on the lighter side of things as far as frame goes, but I like what he might be able to give this Minnesota Vikings football team. Obviously, he's a little bit lighter, 235 pounds, not a very big guy, very lanky at 6'4". He's going to wow offensive linemen coming from that edge side, being quick and being bendy. He's not going to be a guy that's going to make a ton of tackles right up front. He's probably going to get overpowered a little bit with inside offensive linemen. He's probably going to have to stick to that outside game and probably be more of a cover 3, like flat type of guy if he's in the passing game to help out with running backs and flares and screens type of thing. So I think Aquara is a nice role player. I would agree probably that he's not getting a lot of love in that draft class as a first-round talent, but seeing that he's projected here in the first round, even though he's a third-round talent, still have to cover him here in this scouting episode. I like him. Maybe he's available later on in the rounds. He's on my radar, but I don't think I'm going to take him in the first. Wide receiver from TCU, Jalen Reagor, one of my favorite players, at least one of my favorite wide receivers in all the draft. He can make people miss without the football even in his hands, which, think about that for a second. He is a master and a magician at creating separation for his quarterback. He's going to find that open space based on whatever his route is going to be run. He can make that DB that he's going up against go the other way, and he's wide open. Once the football's in his hands, he hits that 0 to 60 like nothing, and he's so explosive with that ball in his hands. I love the potential that Jalen Reagor would have in the slot with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. He reminds me a lot of Stephon Diggs. Diggs is 6 feet tall. Reagor's 5'11" at 185. He would fit perfectly in that slot role for us. I really like this guy. I think he's one to watch out for. I think he's very underrated at this point. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him because of a lot of people are talking about Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, which we'll talk about right here. CeeDee Lamb's kind of weird to me because he's not an insanely good route runner like Jalen Reagor would be. And with his size, he seems to be more like an outside type of receiver, but we already have that with Diggs and Thielen. I'd basically draft CeeDee Lamb to be our slot receiver for this season, for at least for next year. But as long as we have Thielen and Diggs, he's not going to be working on the outside. And at 6'3", 6'2", you would think that size would allow him to be on that outside versus on the inside. But he catches everything. He catches everything that you throw to him. It doesn't matter if it's high, low, wherever, down the sidelines. He's going to find a way to make the catch and make the grab, which would lead you to think that he's a possession type of guy, which would work well in the slot. So Lamb's kind of weird. I don't really know where he would fit inside this offense. Don't get me wrong. If you have the ability to take CeeDee Lamb, you're probably going to do it. But I feel like that there's other receivers that are available that best suit where the team's at, especially with what we're trying to do on offense. From one interesting wide receiver prospect to the next, Laviska Shenault out of Colorado is built like a running back, but he runs like a wide receiver. The only problem with Laviska Shenault is, yes, he's very explosive. He can get between the tackles on screens in wildcat situations, but that works in college. Doesn't work very well in the pros. Kind of like that Cordarrelle Patterson type of mold. I have yet to see if he can return kicks. I haven't seen that in his highlight films. I'm pretty sure that they probably did use him in kickoffs at Colorado, but the problem with Shenault is that he's got to really work on his route running. And given the fact that we really are looking for a slot type of receiver that's going to be able to do those things, Shenault would not be my guy in the first round. He just wouldn't. He's not going to push us over the top, I don't feel like. I feel like a guy like Jalen Reagor would definitely do that. And he would help the offense in that regard. He's more of a gadget type of player, and I just don't see how it would translate to what we're trying to do on offense. He's a great player. But we got to find guys that are going to fit with what we're trying to do and really help us push over the top. Alabama middle linebacker Dylan Moses is mostly a run support type of linebacker. He's not too great in coverage. He's mostly going to be that type of blitzer guy. Run stopper guy, is really good at anticipating where the hole is going to be, hitting that gap, stopping the running back in the backfield, and even using him as a blitzer to go after the quarterback is really what Dylan Moses is all about. Good tackler, exceptional tackler actually, but in my defense, I think we're going to be wanting to use a little bit more of a balanced linebacker, especially an Anthony Barr type of player. I know Ben Gideon, Eric Kendricks have been good in coverage. I need my linebackers to be good in coverage. Maybe if we were able to draft a guy like Dylan Moses late, you're going to have to deal with that type of thing where you're not going to get a complete type of player. You're going to have to get kind of a specialist. I think Dylan Moses would fit for us, especially if we have Ben Gideon, Eric Kendricks still there. Could still use Dylan Moses on blitzing packages, and he would still be a good player for us late in the first round. Right tackle Cal McGowan. This is a custom prospect, and he took the job over Tristan Wirfs at Iowa and vaulted himself up into that first round caliber type of player. Wirfs, obviously in our draft class, he is listed as a third round grade. Even though he's projected to go in the first, it's probably mostly due to the fact that there are not a lot of tackles that are going to be available in the early rounds. But he was moved to offensive tackle and spent a redshirt year gaining weight and just adjusting to the new position. In his freshman year, he appeared on special teams and impressed the team's offensive coordinator, who began to incorporate Cal into more offensive downs. He was named the backup right tackle into his redshirt sophomore season, but after that, he started getting into some action and he started impressing across the board. He is a gamer, guys. He's a gamer, and I think that if he's available, we might even consider this player just because of his grit and his grind attitude coming from Iowa. I love those offensive linemen. I know that Riley Reif is from Iowa too, and it hasn't really panned out for him in Detroit or in Minnesota, but I think Cal McGowan, he feels like he's with it. It feels like he's got everything that you want in an offensive lineman, from technique, from grit and grind attitude. I really like Cal McGowan. Outside linebacker slash safety slash do-it-all type of linebacker from Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. This is one of my favorite players in all of the draft. Just his physical tools, his traits. This guy's a freak. I love his pure ability, his raw ability. Where he fits in the NFL, still, that remains yet to be seen. I think he's more of an edge type of guy like Chase Young. He's not as big as Chase Young is, but he could fit in that Von Miller type of role. It's just going to be a blitzer, primary used as a blitzer. He knows how to make tackles in the backfield. He can cover a little bit, but his footwork seems to be a little shaky when backpedaling and when trying to cover in space. But, he does a really good job trying to track the ball carrier down, make plays on the quarterback. Blitzing is really the name of his game. I like Isaiah Simmons, especially considering him late, where we're going to be falling. It seems like a position of need for us with Kendricks and Gideon. Anthony Barr obviously going to be here for a little while longer, but if we're trying to add to that positional group, that would be a player that we would consider heavily. So because we have a center already, a young center in that, Garrett Bradbury, we're not really looking at any centers in this draft class. Basically what we would do is, if you play center, you'd have to play a little bit of guard. And Vinnie Maniscalco from Penn State, custom player here from Prince Vince. So shout out to you for creating this guy from Penn State. He can play a little bit of guard. He has played center as his primary position. He's agile, he can move, he's quick, he's light-footed, but he can also anchor an offensive line wherever you put him, center or guard. He would be a player that we would look at a little bit later on. He's got a first-round talent grade. I like Vinnie Maniscalco. Tight end from Vanderbilt, a Mayo Ostrander, 6'9". This is obviously a custom player, and this guy is going to be a vertical threat if there ever was any. Built like an offensive lineman, he can block, except he's more agile and he's a freak athlete than an O-lineman. He's going to be able to get out in space, catch the football. He's going to be that type of target. Guys, if Kyle Rudolph was never going to finish his career out in Minnesota, we do have Irv Smith Jr. that we just drafted. I don't know if we're going to be able to take a guy like a Mayo Ostrander, but you know what? This player right here is going to be a really, really good one for whoever takes him. I just don't think that we would be interested given our tight end depth. And last but not least, one of my favorite quarterbacks, JT Peppers. This guy can move just a little bit. He's more of a pocket passer versus being a scrambler or a very mobile type. Despite what that says on his scouting analysis here from Madden, it says he's a scrambler, but he's more productive as a field general type of guy that's going to be a pocket passer type of dude. 6 feet, 226, A+ throw power, A- in the short, A- in the deep. He can do anything and everything. And that's what I really like about him. Ran a 4.9 in the 40-yard dash with 24 in bench rep. We'll have to see how he does actually in the combine. These are unofficial 40-yard dash times. And shout out here to Zach H for this custom player. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, but shout out to you for creating this player. He looks like he's going to be a pretty good one. I know the story that you made was the Golden Gophers winning the national title. I'm obviously not going to go that far, but you guys get the idea here. This guy is going to be a really good player from the Big Ten. I like what his skill set's going to bring if we decide to draft this type of player. He might go earlier than where the projection has him right now. He's a first-round talent and a first-round projection, and I think he might even go as early as the top 10. So guys, that is going to round out our scouting update video for today's Minnesota Vikings franchise upload. I will see you guys in the next one for round number 2 after the Seahawks gameplay. And then once we get into week 14, I'm going to have round 3 for the scouting update, which will have a ton more of those custom players. And I think the later we go on, I'm not going to cover everybody. Not everybody's going to get into this. It's just taking a very, very long time. You guys see just the round 1 scouting episode took about 36 minutes. So obviously when we get into round 3 and the later rounds, I'm only going to focus on guys that I'm actually truly interested in drafting, mostly for guys that kind of fit our scheme, kind of fit what I'm going to try to do to try to build this football team back up. And actually not even build it back up, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's to build it into a championship type of caliber football team, at least stay consistent in that goal for this Vikings football team. So guys, leave a like if you like this thing, and I will see you in the next one later on this week. As always, let me know in the comment section below who you think we should take in the first round. Should we trade out of that pick? Obviously, you're not going to know that until we finish this regular season, but who do you think that we should keep our eyes on throughout the rest of the year? Guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I will see you in the next one. As always, peace.